That's how a doggy sleeps, with a head on the pillow. Look at your cute pajamas. Look at your cute Christmas pajamas. You're too adorable. You are. You're too adorable. He's one of those people that wears his heart on his sleeve. Hello and welcome to Vlogmas Day 8. Today I am super excited to introduce to you my husband Kevin. We have been together for 33 years since our first date, and this Vlogmas question or episode was actually created as a response to one of my lovely viewers, Sandra, who asked me recently to talk about how Kevin and I met all those years ago, 33 years ago. So I thought I would introduce you to him and let him take it away and share our story.
Okay, would you like the real story?
Go for it, because I own the editing portion, so I can just edit everything out that I don't like.
So I was actually working as a male stripper. We met at a nightclub, and Deb was a cocktail waitress. No, we actually met at place of work. We both worked for National Australia Bank, and Deb caught my eye early on when she first joined, and we were both employed by the same person through an employment agency.
Take your sunglasses off so I can see. They can see your beautiful eyes.
I'll be squinting. And yeah, we kind of became friends first through work, and there was an opportunity one day where I asked Deb. She made a comment that she would try anything once at least. That
sounds a little bit scary, but
so I knew that there was no way she could have ever had an opportunity to have seen NASCARs that were coming to Australia, and I was going to go originally with friends of mine to go and watch the NASCARs at Calder Park. Instead, I decided to ditch them when Deb said that she would come along for the day, and later only to find out that she came along because she sort of hoped that I'd have some good-looking friends if she was single.
I know, that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But I have to preface that and just sort of tell them why I was so concerned. Not concerned, but not that I wasn't interested. I liked him, but something about Kevin I need to know is that he is, what you see is what you get. He's one of those people that wears his heart on his sleeve, and from day one, I felt that he was really keen on me, and I didn't want to lead him on because at that stage in my life, I was in a really bad space, and I didn't believe that there was someone awesome like him out there for me, and I didn't want to stuff it up. So in a way, I was protecting me by keeping him at a distance, because then I couldn't stuff up the possibility of something good happening. So that's why when he asked me to go out with him, I was like, okay, well, subconsciously I liked him, but I was telling myself, well, I'll see what his friends are like, so that, you know, I wasn't sort of putting myself out there too much. And I was telling myself the story that, you know, I'm not really keen on him, but, you know, maybe something else can happen with someone else.
So there you go. There's the backstory on that. So we ended up going to Calder Park. That in itself was an interesting day, I think.
Because, okay, so back in the day when we used to work at the bank, We used to do a thing called filing, which is unheard of now. But we used to have to file away all the day's cards and paperwork in this little back room full of boxes that used to be numbered, 36,190 to 37,000. And we would have to file everything away in these boxes. And it was the most boring task that we had to do at the bank back in those days. And so it used to be that you take someone in there with you so that it would just make it go faster, the time. And so we were sitting there in that filing room having a chat, and Kevin asked me if I had ever been to Calder Park. And I said, what's at Calder Park? And for anyone who doesn't know, Calder Park is like this little racetrack where cars go basically around in circles. And when he explained it to me, I said, why would I want to go and just watch cars chase themselves around in circles? You kind of know what's going to happen. They're just going to go round and round and round. I couldn't think of anything more boring. But anyway, he sold me on it.
Yeah, so my passion outside of work was always cars. Started restoring cars at a very young age. That time I had a HQ GDS Monaro, which I was very fond of, bright yellow, organised, gave it a big detail so I could impress her with my flashy car when I picked her up. Those coupes had really big doors that occasionally would sag, and sometimes getting out of the passenger seat would be a little bit awkward because the door would hang. So I thought, I've got to fix that if I'm going to have her in the car. Spent the day adjusting it. I got it so perfect that I actually didn't realise that it was opening and closing well, except that I didn't realise that the button had gone down, and trying to open it, thought the door was jammed. It was just locked. I broke the handle on the passenger door. With no time to fix it, I drove off to go and pick up Deb to take her out for the day. Stopped off at a florist on the way and bought her.
Mind you, this is our first sort of date, which wasn't really a date because I was going out with him to hang out for the day. So it wasn't like a dinner date.
She wasn't expecting it to be the date.
No.
I saw it as a date. Picked up a dozen red roses from a florist on the way to pick her up, and then arrived at her house. She looked quite shocked when she saw me at the front door with the roses. She almost didn't know what to do. I think at one stage I was sort of standing at the front door still when she went inside, and her mum actually invited me in. I sat down in the lounge room while I could hear them chatting away. What do I do? What do I do, Mum? What do I do? This guy's here. And
he's brought me like a dozen red roses to just go to Calder Park. It wasn't a date. It was just going out together. Now do you see what I mean about him being such a charming person, that he was just, his heart was on his sleeve from the first minute that I met him. So I felt overwhelmed by that level of interest.
yeah. So anyway, I think her mum came out and brought me a glass of water, while eventually Deb got the courage to then come out and ask me if we should go. So of course, being a bit sort of chivalrous, I opened the door for her, but also had to explain that she can't open the door because I've snapped the handle off. With my stupid sense of humour, telling her that it was a woman trap, that she won't be able to get out.
Now, mind you, all I'd known about him was that we used to work together. So I was quite trusting in, going into like a stranger's car to go out with him. So you sort of see where I was coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew him at work, and then he comes out with this line that it's my woman trap. I went, what am I doing?
She's about to be murdered. Yeah. So I think that sort of, I remember the look she gave me at that time, not realising that it was just my stupid humour. Anyway, we went to Calder Park. It was exactly like she described, after being bored watching the NASCARs going around, which I thought was quite entertaining. The sound, the smell, she was just sitting there looking incredibly bored. I could tell that she wasn't enjoying it. So I said, would you like to go and get some lunch? Which then I think this closed the deal for our relationship. If anyone remembers Sizzlers, I took her to lunch to Sizzlers. It was all on me. Whatever you want, eat as much as you like. We paid for the buffet. So that was our first date.
Yes.
Should we talk about potential date number 2?
Oh, God.
Which, again, wasn't really a date, but we had a Christmas party by the Yarra, work Christmas party. And I had other girls that I worked with that knew that I was keen on Deb, and they were going to her house to get changed after work. She only lived not too far away from the city. So they asked me if I'd come with them whilst we all went down to her place to get changed, hoping that I can spend a bit more time with Deb and she might realise that I'm still keen on her. And we then went down all together to the Yarra, and someone broke into her car.
I personally, my version of events is that he paid someone to pretend to break into my car so that then he could come out as the knight in shining armor and solve the problem.
Not true. I actually went to help because someone broke her little window on her car. Obviously must have got interrupted, but that turned into an opportunity to try and help her. I've been pulling apart cars since I was the age of 14 and said, look, it's no issue, I can fix it. I rang a few wreckers the next day to desperately make sure I got the right piece of glass and came around with my toolbox and repaired her door and her glass, which I think she was pretty impressed that she came out when the door was all pulled apart.
He took the what are they called? The thingies inside the door.
The door trims.
The door trims out, and I'm thinking, does he know what he's doing? Because he's taking my car apart. Now, my dad was a mechanic, so he kind of knew how to change oils and things like that, but he never touched like upholstery type of things inside the car. So here he comes taking my car apart, and that was like my first car. It was my little baby, my little joy. It was a little Laser KB, like it was a lemon. Okay, it was an absolute lemon of a car, but to me it was my first car, and I called it Bixby because the number plates with BXB, so it was Bixby to me. And yes, it was my pride and joy. And there he is in my driveway, or my parents' home driveway, with this car door apart, and I'm thinking, does he know what he's doing? Like, is he able to put it back together again?
Which, yeah, was not an issue. It was just you have to pull it all that far apart to get into it to be able to replace the glass, which was all done, and she was quite impressed. And at the end of it, she weirdly asked me, how much do I owe you for fixing this? And I said, you don't owe me anything. It was my pleasure to do it. However, let's go on another date together, which I thought was great payment in exchange for fixing the window. So she said, let's go to the beach. I suggested, why don't we go down the Great Ocean Road and go to Lorne? Being a car lover and love driving, the Great Ocean Road is quite bendy and twisty and a nice road for a driver, especially with the car that I own. So I said, let's go down to Lorne. She accepted. I think it was the following weekend. We went to there and I went to pick her up, and I'm wearing jeans, shirts, shoes,
socks and shoes.
My impression was that we're going for a drive to the beach, and we'd stop at a restaurant or a cafe to have lunch. Her interpretation of beach is probably like most others, is we'd bring beach towels and bathers and we'd go for a swim and sunbake, which I'm not a person that likes sunbaking.
He burns. He's very fair. So whenever he stands 5 minutes in the sun, he becomes...
Tomato red.
Lobster red.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he comes knocking at the door in long pants, socks, runners, shirt, and I open the door in my bikinis and a sarong, beach bag, sun hat. I'm ready for the beach.
And of course, chaperoned with a girlfriend, which I was not expecting. I thought it was kind of a date, only to find that we had a third person joining us, which was one of her best friends.
Yeah.
So it was a fun day. We went there. I rolled up my pants as best as I could because I had no bathers or anything with me. Don't know why I just didn't go to the shop and try and buy some. And took my shoes and socks off while they're sunbaking with their coconut oil, and it was a fun day. We made a day of it, and then I think my mum started noticing that I was going out more regularly and talking about this girl that I'd met. My mum unfortunately passed away about 23 years ago.
Yeah.
She was amazing. She was a beautiful human. Loved her dearly. And she wanted to meet Deborah. She could see that there was something about this girl that I was completely fallen by. And Christmas was coming up. Our first date was on the 1st of December, so we'd squeezed a few in between that period. But my mum asked if she would come to Christmas dinner. And so I invited her. She reluctantly said yes. coming and meeting my parents 3 weeks in after our first date seemed a little bit fast for
Premature.
her. My mum absolutely fell in love with Deb and always loved Deb till the day she died. It was really lovely to watch the interaction between my wife, now Deborah, back then my not even girlfriend yet, friend from work, and my mum got along like a house on fire. We had a beautiful Christmas together. One of the gifts I think I gave you at Christmas was a stereo for her car, because she didn't even have a cassette recorder or a CD.
I don't think CDs were available back then, were they? I think it was cassette, because I remember cassettes.
Yeah.
It was a cassette player.
Might have been a cassette, I can't remember 100%. But I bought her a beautiful Kenwood stereo for her car. I'm pretty handy with cars, but I'm not an electrician, but figured my way around to install it and fit it to her car. Only every time she would turn the fan on for the air conditioning, I must have connected to the wrong power on the car. She would turn the stereo off, and then she'd have to turn the fan back off to turn the stereo back on. She didn't tell me for a number of weeks that it was only a quick switch of which wire I used for power, and I thought that was quite funny. The other thing that I got her for Christmas was a optional potential future date. And I said, you don't have to take me if you don't want to. When Ansett used to exist, they used to do a thing called mystery flights and mystery tours. The concept of a mystery flight, you go to the airport, you don't know where you're going, you fly to that destination, more for the experience of flying, because not a lot of people flew as much as perhaps today. And then you flew straight back, which seems stupid, just to go all that way and come back.
I think we had like
the mystery tour,
3 hours there.
The mystery tour, you actually got out. They actually had a bus organised. They take you into certain areas. You could stay in the city or go into different areas, have a look around, then they take you back to the airport. So we had a few hours in Adelaide City to spend. That's where we ended up going. Spend some time together. And that was a lovely date. I think that was the first time I actually got a kiss from her.
New Year's was the first kiss.
Was the first kiss?
Yeah,
maybe you held my hand.
Yeah.
In the aeroplane. I remember holding your hand. I thought maybe we got a quick kiss on the cheek.
No.
And yeah, so that's kind of where it all started from.
That's how it started. So yes, that's our love story. And we've been together 33 years since then.
33 years.
Married for 30 next year.
Yeah.
And we've booked a holiday to Europe, our second one in 18 years. We went 18 years ago as a family, and thought that we might go back 5 years later. Well, 18 years later, we're going just the two of us, and we booked
It's a tour.
It's a tour where they take you like an Instagram type of tour where they take you to all these different destinations with a lot of old people like us. So it'll be fun. We'll go see, a lot of Europe, take a little bit of a bite out of every city, and enjoy that. So I hope I have answered your question, and thank you to Kevin for joining us today. I know my viewers have been very curious about you, and they would have appreciated it. Until next time, my friends, I thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Opening day 8 of the Kiehl's Advent Calendar. I love it when it's right on top. It just makes life easier, and I don't make the same mistake. Hopefully I've opened the wrong date, although there is no day 80, is there? This is day 8 of the Kiehl's Advent Calendar. Let's have a look. It's something small. So it is the, oh my God, small eyes. The eye zone treatment, the Super Multi-Corrective Eye Zone Treatment. So this is the eye zone treatment for the brow bone, eyelid, outer corner, and under eye. Awesome. And is it opening? I'll just put a little bit just to see what it's like. Oh, that feels very light. And it has a very faint hint of a smell. Nothing too strong. I really need to start using these so I can actually tell you what they feel like on. This week I'll start doing that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.